Like, out of bad lies, like I try to pretend I'm you.
And that allows me to kind of swing my shoulders and make solid contact.
You can hit that nice quality strike.
We see the average person just kind of glance at their target and stare at the ball. The ball's not going anywhere.
When you're hitting that shot, Tiger, come here for a sec. I want to get your thoughts.
Does that feel weird to you?
No, not really. It's a little closer than I normally am.
Yep.
Now, as I get to 40, 50-yard shots.
There it is right there.
So Severiano Ballesteros, who's not with us anymore, gave me the greatest tip of all time that's lasted to me to this day is...
Now look at that. There's perfection for you. Look at this. Tell me where it goes. Everybody, from the best in the world to the worst in the world, if there was one shot that was not quite as good as the rest of the game, because it doesn't allow it to happen, is chipping. Take the best chipper in the world. If you took over a year, chipping, say, from 10 yards off to the edge of the green, probably the average distance would be that. Well, he's still got to hold that putt. Whereas if you've got long putts, lag putts of 40 foot, you could say the average is going to be that. Big difference. So chipping is so exact because you might pitch into a divot. You might pitch into the grain. You might pitch with the grain. You might pitch across grain. You might just be a little unlucky with the way the ball bounces and has a great effect at being close to the hole. But there's a rule. Keep it low for the dough, hit it high and you're going to cry, or you're going to die. So the thing is that the average weekend golfer, he's right on the edge of the green. I see him using a sandwich.
Really?
He's got no chance.
Let's see you chip one
Keep
here,
it now.
Gary
I've got a
player.
6-iron here.
You've got a 6-iron.
A 6-iron, and I always try and pitch the ball just on the edge of the green here.
Okay.
So now here I've got a 6-iron. I'm going to try and pitch the ball right here. It's much easier to pitch the ball here than it is to pitch it on a spot over there, unless you practice all day. So, okay, here we got the 6-iron. Watch this. I'm going to pitch it just on the edge of the green here. Now look at that. There's perfection for you. Look at this. Tell me where it goes. Now, you know that's not trick photography, right? They saw that on a camera.
1962, Arnold and I are playing a practice round at Palm Springs. And I'm chipping every ball off the edge of the green. And I mean, I don't care whether I've got a 5-iron, 6-iron, 9-iron, or what it is. And I'm sitting there hitting these little chip shots, you know, boom, and they're rolling up 3, 4, 5 feet from the hole. And Arnold said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I'm just chipping." And he says, "Think about something." He said, "Think about that chip. How good was that chip?" I said, how good was it? It was 4 feet from the hole. I said, "That's a pretty good chip." He says, "Well, let's take your putter. What would happen if you were in the same exact place and you use your putter for the same shot? Would 4 feet be acceptable?" He said, "That'd be a pretty bad putt." Well, sort of think about that. Maybe your worst putt will be just as good as your best chip. Now, sure, you might chip the ball closer sometimes, but you're not going to hit the ball very far from the hole with a putter. So he told me, he says, put that chipping iron away. Let's get the putter out. When you're off the green, let's put it off the green. I use that the rest of my life.
Any question any viewer can ask me about this shot, I'm going to say to you, just like you putt. Now, if you're a cross-handed putter, you play the shot cross-handed. If you're separated with fingers down, however you grip it, and whatever your stance might be, just like you putt. Now, you're going to see me when I go to putt, and I don't have my glove on. Well, that's the only thing I do different.
I'm going to steal a line from Ray Floyd. He called it putting with loft.
Yep.
All right, so I like to get the club pretty vertical. I'm not standing way out here with the hands real low. I'm almost more in my putting stance at this point with weight on my left foot. And that allows me to kind of swing my shoulders and make solid contact.
So I'd be here. Yeah, I'd be kind of wrapping it that way. Swinging out to the right with it.
And you use the toe, less resistance?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the heel as high as I can. That's what Raymond Floyd used to always tell me.
Yeah.
And then get your hand up there like that and stand as close as you can to it. So.
And just hit little baby hooks.
Yeah, basically. Does that feel weird to you?
No, not really. It's a little closer than I normally am.
Yep. But you're also a lot taller too.
Yeah. But when you hook it, it actually runs up that slope.
Yes,
if
exactly.
I don't put hook spin on it, I won't get up the hill.
Correct.
Yeah.
You like using the bounce or leading edge?
I'm a bounce guy.
Are you?
Yeah. I think when I start chipping poorly, I'll start using too much of the leading edge, and I kind of almost like the grip goes first, and I start leading that leading edge.
Yeah, you see like Jordan, you use the leading edge all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of a bounce guy.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Playing out of Bermuda, it's just so hard to trust that it's going to come out the same every time.
Especially out of like just a little bit of
just
rough.
a little bit
right
like that.
there.
I was like, man, I don't know.
But this way, you can just throw the toe in there. Then
Correct.
What I tend to see with a lot of amateurs is they set up reasonable, but as they go to hit the golf ball, they want to get it in the air and they fall back onto their right leg. So essentially their center of gravity, their sternum, as they're coming in to hit it, is going backwards. If this is going to go backwards, you're going to hit behind the ground and get that double hit. So for me, because in this chip shot you don't have that much time to transfer your weight, I like to see amateurs set themselves very much on their left leg. So as you can see, once I set up on my left side, my sternum moves right on top of the ball or even left of the ball. So watch what happens when I take a practice swing. My practice swing is actually about 4 or 5 inches left of the golf ball. Whereas most amateurs, as they're coming in, their practice swing is brushing the grass 8 inches behind the ball. If you continually practice like this, you're never going to get a good contact. Your hands are going to be very active. All sorts of funny things are going to be happening. You might get the knees going if you're back here. So you're going to get a lot of this. Even have a fresh air like I just did there. Whereas if you sit on your left-hand side and always make sure your practice swing is left. If you're chronic, even making sure it's a foot left of the ball. Once you're on that left side, sit up there, then you can hit that nice quality strike.
So my hands being on the front side of the golf ball, having the hands slightly higher than you would on a normal golf shot, only because you're a little bit closer now. From there, I'd like to feel most of my weight on my left ball on my foot to ensure that, you know, I feel very comfortable chipping like this, just because I like to have that descending blow on the golf ball. So by feeling my weight on my left ball on my foot, hands on the front side of the golf ball, ensures that my hands are always going to be leading the club head into the golf ball, so you don't get in that motion.
What I do is I just break the wrist and I hold it going through. Now when I say I hold it, what I'm doing is accelerating my hand. Now if you notice, my arm and club are going to form a straight line into the finish. I'll show you again. Now look here, we have the arm and the club in a straight line. That means at no point did the club travel faster than the arm. We want that with the driver because we're trying to create distance, but here we're trying to control distance. We're trying to hit at the specific distance to the target. And the best way to do that is to have the arms and club working at the same speed. As we move the pin back and make it a 20-yard shot, I want you to see that it's exactly the same. I set up the same. Square to the hole, club face is square, I break the wrist going back, and I accelerate into the finish. Now as I get to 40, 50-yard shots, it'll come up here and it might break slightly. That's not important. What's important is through impact, the club and arm are traveling at the same speed.
Seve was probably the magician of the short game. He hit shots better than anybody else I've ever seen in my life. He hit shots that I had never even thought about seeing in my life. But one of the things that Seve taught me the most, and it's remained to this day, he said, make love to your hands when you put it on the golf club. More so in chipping than anything else. And what I mean by that is you have to caress the grip of the golf club. Do not choke it, do not white knuckle it, just caress it. The more you have your hands soft on the grip, the easier it is for you to accelerate through the ball. So Severiano Ballesteros, who's not with us anymore, gave me the greatest tip of all time that's lasted to me to this day is make love to your hands when you put it on the golf club when you go to play a chip shot.
You have to hold the club with enough pressure to control it, but don't strangle the club, because the result of that is that you will create too much tension on the forearms, and what happens, you will lose the club speed and you will swing too fast. Stand tall at the address, grip down the shaft a bit, have the ball about in the center of your stance, which should be square. The swing is short and is more arms than hands. There is no check on the shot. The ball will roll and roll on landing all the way up to the flag. Remember here, have your hands ahead of the ball at address and keep your left side firm throughout impact.
In chipping, I don't like to use the full length of the golf club. I like to grip down on the golf club. And keep it in the same position for all your chip shots so you have a basic same feel with the club head. The other thing is grip pressure. One of the common mistakes I see with a lot of poor chippers is how tightly they grip onto the golf club. That leads into real stiff hands they get and very fast types of golf swings. Keep the grip pressure light. You must feel the weight of the club head. One of the key positions in being a good chipper is that you want the left hand to lead the club head into the impact area. You want the left hand to be slightly ahead of the club head. This is square up, this is straight up, this is left hand leading. Try to brush the grass. That will establish the bottom of your arc. Then place the ball just at the beginning of the bottom of the arc and hit it.
I play in a lot of pro-ams and I see players, they get a little nervous around the greens. They know that they need to make up and down to save a shot or two, so they start using their legs too much. And we all know what happens when you use your legs. You either come in, you know, too much in front of the ball, or you even hit the ball thin, so you really don't get that nice connection. So here's a little drill that I recommend. Just take your left foot or leg, I should say, and put it over your right leg like this, and actually tightens up your hip quite a bit. So, you know, I'm not going to be able to use my lower body here at all. So what you will do here is really swing with the shoulders, and you can see I'm standing very, very still, and it's just a great little tip I think you can use to work on your chipping.
Very simply, I think we all have a lot of instincts, and what I would say to this, they say, well, how hard should I hit? I say, well, how hard do you throw it? If I ask somebody to pick this ball and say, underhand it to that hole, they would probably just instinctively do something like that. So that's about how hard you hit it.
Yeah.
So I would say to them, imagine it's just underhanding it. So if they're here and they underhand it, they get a pretty good roll, and you get a success.
The average player stands completely stationary in their legs.
Right.
And I want you to watch a little motion in Jason's legs just to give a little feel. The right knee and left knee kind of kick forward a little. But watch the pace of this swing. You can see he's picked out a spot he wants to land the ball on, and that's what he focuses on. You don't see a lot of wrist cock in this shot because it's just a straightforward pitch, and those are two perfect ones, by the way.
Jason, do you see a lot of us on Wednesday try to help that ball?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is a lot of amateurs, when they see this shot, they just see a flag, and then they go in and hit and swing away and just hit. You got to pick your target, try and land it on the target the best you can, read the green, and hopefully from there, once it bounces and rolls, hopefully it goes in the hole.
If you watch Jason set up to hit this, he's actually paying more attention to where he's trying to land it than he is to the ball.
Right.
We see the average person just kind of glance at their target and stare at the ball. The ball's not going anywhere. He's zoned into where he wants to land it. Now watch the rhythm.
I think the biggest thing is to try and, for myself, is to try and match the practice swings up with how far I really need to hit my chip or pitch shot. When you're hitting that shot, Tiger, come here for a sec. I want to get your thoughts too. So when you're hitting that shot there, Rory, what are you trying to do with the face through impact?
So I'm not really thinking of the face. I'm trying to release the club underneath the ball and get the shaft like back to vertical at impact, I guess. So you really like release it underneath it.
Yeah, because I can see your hands going underneath this way.
Yep.
But you have a very abbreviated swing. When you're hitting that low spinner as well, do you do the exact same technique? Was it like that?
No, I try and cover it just a little bit with my body. So I'll have it open and try and cover it and then let it go at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, that's got some nip on it.
Can you feel it in your chest?
So like you open your chest up a bit? I move the chest, and then I throw it at the same time. So it almost feels like almost everything is going. Almost like a little over the top sort of throw. Okay, yeah. I love yours because you've just got this structure in your arm so good, and it doesn't break any. I love that. Like out of bad lies, like I try to pretend I'm you.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
You get really wide.
Yeah, I got wide.
Yeah, I love that, especially out of like rough if you got a bad lie. Okay,
so
getting low and getting wide here though. Can you hit it?
Draw that way?
Yeah. No, like with your technique, being wide like that. Like a draw spinner to here. Like hold it on the hill. To this short one? Yeah. So that the ball won't release to the right.
With an open face? I mean, you're going to have to go...
No. Not
like,
spanky. No. Like that.
Are you just talking about...
Just a little bit. Like a draw, like more draw spin than backspin. Like that? I love that.
Pretty good. Yeah. So you like more of the inside feel, compressing it on the inside?
I do.
Right. But
unless I want to hit the high one.
Yeah.
Then
you're on the outside?
I'm trying to get outside of the ball.
Yeah, so normally you're inside.
I'm on the inside.
Compressing it a little bit down.
Exactly.
Okay. And Rory, what are you? Are you more of a...
I guess it depends on the shot. I mean, this is a very, I mean, for me, it's a very simple shot. I'm just, I mean, if anything, just a little on the inside. And
yeah. So I think it obviously determines on the shot that you play based on the wedge you have too.
Correct. And when I'm at home practicing, I like to hit draws.
Yeah.
Because why?
You know who was big into that? Trevino.
What? So what?
Draws around the green. Yeah.
But why do you like hitting draws?
Because it's easy to kind of rake across and get it rakey and steep. It's a little harder
and then it's inconsistent that way.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
But trying to hit it draws in like that.
Oh, that was actually
shallow me out.
Yeah.
I like to smother the ball a little bit, take a little bounce off the club by putting the club back in my stance a little bit and making it a little bit sharper. Not so much finishing the shot as I do actually attacking the ball, hitting down on it. What that does is when the ball lands, it actually releases. Instead of checking, the ball will release and then run almost like a 7-iron. I can make a sand wedge. See, I can chip a ball with a sand wedge and make it react like a 7-iron. But you'll notice that the hands will stay in front of, see it? Now watch. The hands are still in the same position to where I finished. I'm not here now. You notice when you hit a shot, hold the club and see where it's at. And I guarantee you, you'll be here. And I'm still in this position. I can actually, watch this. I can actually hit this ball, hold the position, right? Watch, and come right back down and hit another one. You see that?
And what does that do to the flight or the release of the ball?
It'll release. It won't put as much spin on it. You understand? See, people don't understand. You know what puts spin on the ball? Bounce. Bounce is what puts spin on the ball. When you put a wedge down at 56 degrees and you hit a golf ball, at the same moment that this bounce catches the ground, the ball is on the club face. And the club actually bounces into the ball and makes it spin up those grooves. And that's what puts the spin on it. When you put your hands forward and you take the loft off that club and make it a 9-iron, now you don't have 14 degrees of bounce on here. You only have 7.
One of the things that I like to teach people is that, you can change the trajectory of your flight of your ball just by moving your grip around. It's kind of fun to do that. Now watch this. I'm going to take my grip right here. This is the normal grip like this. And this is that's the normal height for this shot. I'm hitting a little bit off the upslope. Now, if I want to go a little bit higher with it, what I'll do, I'll take my normal grip here and I'll take the left thumb and put it straight down the shaft, weakening. That's called a weakened left grip. Bring the right hand over like that. Keep the face open. Now watch the difference in the ball flight.
Yeah.
Ball goes much higher just by changing your grip there. That's something to practice. Another thing, then the opposite of that is put the full Harley on it. The left hand, put that left hand over here like this, right hand underneath like that, but make sure that that ball's in the back of your stance. Now watch. And you can make that same club roll.
And as Henry Cotton would say, just try and chop the legs off. So what I'm trying to do is, obviously, I want to hit this high, so I'm going to open the club face as much as I can and use the bounce on my club. And from that point on, the ball's a little bit forward. I'm pretty much right on top of it. I'm going to make a big arc. I don't want to lift this club up and drop it onto the ball because that would make me most likely blade it or hit it fat. So I want to have a big swing, big arc, and come in shallow.
And that is how you hit that high flop shot.
You have a drill to show whether or not you're properly using the bounce. What is it?
Well, hopefully I can pull this off, but I'll give you an example of the leading edge hitting. I'm going to hit this tee here with the leading edge. This is the ball back, and when you do it, the tee goes flying. That's the leading edge hitting. It'd be really cool, wouldn't it, if I could release the club enough to get the bottom of the club to tick the top of that tee and drive it into the ground. And it's the way I practice, just being able to engage that bounce, Brandel.
Come on.
No, I swear, it's kind of tricky. But if I'm hitting and the tee's falling forward or springing out of the ground like that, I'm not doing it right.
Edge.
Oh. There it is right there. So you just tick the tee and it kind of drives it down,
So
which is fun.
The back part of the club just hit that tee, drove it into
Just
the
this
ground.
very bottom part. I mean, and when you learn where the bottom of the club is, it's so liberating, and it frees you up, and it opens up a whole new world around the greens for you. But then you can then be creative and use your imagination. Seve or, some of these, all the Spaniards, they'd look at the shots and they'd see 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to play it.
I like to show you one of the most difficult shots in golf. We call it the floater. Let me show you how to do it. First of all, I open the club face. Then I move the ball a little bit forward, more or less to the left heel of the left feet. Then I put my weight a little bit more on the right side to create more loft on the club. Also, I have my hands behind the ball too to create even more loft on the club face. And then I take the club straight upright back and outside the line, and then I go down into the ball and I try to keep my right hand as much as possible under and also inside the line. And also I have to say that it's important to hit it hard. Don't be worried about hitting the ball too hard because the ball will never go too far. Okay? Let's have a look.
Practicing the release and a draw motion gets me into where I can feel like the club is being let go. I had bad bunker shots when I dragged my hands. The second pin, I'd be here. Now, if I had to hit one to the front pin, I'd drop my hands a little lower. I really do like dropping my right leg back.
To feel the hook?
To feel the hook in it, to be able to get my release there. My path is like that.
To that
the second one, yeah.
That's wild.
What? Don't forget, I dropped my right leg back.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So now you know why
now it feels almost normal.
Right. Now that path looks about right now. Yeah, see? That's how.
Oh, yeah, you said you feel it in the heel, too.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I'm feeling it in the heel, that's actually an easy way to get that underneath the ball.
Correct, exactly.
I think the most important thing you can do in the bunker, in my mind, is consistently hit about that far behind it. Everything else is secondary. If you hit that far behind it, it's going to come out onto the green. If you hit that far behind it, it's going right there, right? Yep. And if you don't hit the sand, it's going across the green on the other side. So you can say all you want about a bunker shot, but the most important thing is to be able to hit about that far behind the ball. And the reason why people have trouble doing that is they don't center themselves. And what I try to do is put my nose right on that spot, which is right there. Right here. Now, when you hit that spot, it won't show up there because the flange is that wide. It'll show up back here.
But in reality, you're trying to hit about this far behind the ball, and you put your nose right on that spot. If I put my head like that, I'll probably hit back here. If I put my head on the ball, you'll hear that click, and it'll go right over the green. So it's the most important thing you can do in the bunker, if you ask me, is center your head and everything about your body right on that spot, because that's your goal, is to hit that spot, not the ball. The ball has nothing to do with it.
When I gave lessons, and I made it very simple, I drew a matchbox. And I put a ball in the middle of the matchbox like that. And I said to my student, look, when you used to light a match in the old days on a matchbox, you'd have to psst. If you went through slowly like that, it wouldn't light. So I drew the matchbox here, and they had to get that to light it. So we call it strike the match. That's the first thing. Secondly, you've got to stand wider in a bunker shot, because you don't want to have a lot of leg action. And if you stand wide, it curtails the amount of leg action you use. And then the most important thing is to set that club as quickly as you can. You can never set it quickly enough. 3 things: stand wide, set the club, light the match.
Let's see you hit one right away. Let's get right.
Yeah, we want to hit the high one though. So now what we're going to talk about is the high shot and reading the sands and the different kinds of shots that we faced up to. Because as we've said, there's more, way more to read in a bunker than there is on a green. Right, here we want this high, soft shot. So the first thing I do, strengthen my grip. Why? Well, let me look at you, Martin, and say this. If I grip the club there, watch the club face, and I weaken my grip, I de-loft it. If I strengthen my grip, look at the loft. You add loft. So by strengthening the grip, you add loft. Secondly, do not ever get your hands in front, because you de-loft the club. You get your hands slightly behind. So my hands are behind. I've strengthened the grip, and now I make sure that I just light the match. Watch this one, baby.
I'm a big believer in making sure you get your stance a little bit wider, making sure you get down on the golf ball a little bit more. And you notice how my club face is laid way open here? To do that, my shaft angle now is going to come back towards the middle of my stance a little bit. So I'm going to have a little bit of a V shape or U shape from the club head to my left shoulder, where in a normal address position, it's almost a straight line. So I get myself very much rooted into the sand. Now I'm very, very stable. My hands are low. Grip pressure's light. My hands are back behind the ball. Now what I'm going to do is just take a real nice shallow low swing. I'm not cocking my wrist too early. I'm taking a shallow swing because I want that club head to slice in underneath like this. I don't want to chop it in to dig it out. I'm trying to let that club head slide in. And my key thought to everybody out there, as you watch this from that camera angle, my key thought is the hosel of the golf club, or the neck of the golf club, that is my leader all the way through. I'm pulling that part of the golf club through the sand and not letting it get buried into the sand and let anything get ahead of it. So this part of the golf club right here is going to be pulled through with the rotation of my body.
That's nice. We have a rake. Not necessarily for raking the bunker, but give you a straight line. So put him down, right? And I really recommend for a while, maybe 5-10 minutes, you don't hit a golf ball, but you put your left heel onto this line, somewhere there, you stand open, you draw a line to help you if you wish, and then the next thing is you open the club face as much as you like, and I want you to point your grip still at your belly button, so you don't open it like this. So many people are like that, they've heard, get your hands forward, or behind's actually better than forward. So, but for now, point the butt of the club, so open it up, put it on the ground, then grip it, okay? Now we want to try and find the sand. So there's 2 faults here. So what we're trying to do is time it so the bounce of the club lands exactly in your little groove there. And I'll give you a very simple tip. If you're all hands, guess what? You hit it there. If you're one of those that looks up, you're going to hit it too late. So work it out. So if you're somebody who's all hands trying to help it, you've got to find a way to get more chest so you get the club entering the sand there. If you're obviously this person who's very much that, well, then you've got to stay down. I'll let you actually just try and throw it a little bit more with your hands to try and find the spot. So after you've done that for maybe a little bit of time, you know, get comfortable with that. If you can do a couple of lines successfully, then I'll let you have a golf ball. So you go down the line again, finding the sand. And when we come to the golf ball, without thinking about it, we whack it like so, yeah?
One of my all-time favorite sand lessons came from Claude Harmon, who taught you how to get out of the bunker with only one hand. What he was trying to achieve there was to hit the sand with the back of the sand wedge like this, with an open face, and make sure that the handle of the club, the grip of the club, never either led or came from behind like this. That's a death for a sand shot, is either have the handle too far ahead or too far behind. By doing it with one hand, the club always came back to where the handle was pointing at the middle of your body. Doing it with an open face produced results like this.
A couple simple drills will help you get the ball out of the bunker nice and high, coming down nice and soft. One of the drills that I do sometimes is I'll actually put sand on the club face, and when I set up to it, the idea is to keep this face open enough that I throw the sand behind me, and that's the path you want in a bunker shot. You want it nice and wide with the toe opening up. As soon as you get steep with the shaft leaning forward, you're going to use that front edge too much and create thick divots. You want nice shallow, wide around you, nice shallow divots, and that should get the ball nice and up. So let me try one with the sand on. Throw it behind me. The ball will come out nice and soft.
Most people are just way too close to it to start, and their club face isn't open enough. We talked about that already. And the importance of getting farther away from it is really huge. Even on a longer bunker shot, you still want to be a little bit farther away from it. You know, logically, I won't open the club face quite as much, and I won't have my hands quite as far back. My goal is always to slip the club past the ball. But I think that when I say normal weight distribution, normal swing off my normal home course sand, the only variance there is that I get a normal ball flight or a normal distance from those three normals. Now that I have to hit it farther than normal, I can actually make the same amount of swing with more weight right, Brandel, and hit the ball farther. This particular flag is even a little farther than just the weight shift change would make. When my weight goes to the right, I enter shallower, and the ball will go farther. Here I'll probably swing a little harder than normal with a little more weight right. And that's how I do it. It's pretty much a normal swing. It may be a hair harder than normal, but I like to move my weight around, you know, and just like if I want to hit a short one, I move my weight left if I want to hit a short one. And now I swing a little harder than normal, and I can hit it shorter and create more spin. So, you know, I get in here, I'll lean left. I'm probably 60-40, 70-30 left. And I can get it to go up with more spin.
If you've got a bunker shot that's a little longer than you're comfortable playing with a sand wedge or your gap wedge, consider the 9-iron. If you hit it just the same as you would your other wedges, you're going to get a ball that travels a little farther. How many times have you been in a bunker, hitting a 9-iron, perhaps from 100, 110 yards, you hit it fat, and it went 25 or 30 yards? Well, that's what we're trying to do here. So all I'm doing is trying to create that missed shot, but it's a planned shot. So we do it just the same. The stance is the same. I lay the club face open. I aim for the same point in the sand, and I take the same swing, and you get a ball that comes out a little flatter. It gets a little more run out, but it's that less risk involved.
Now we're faced with one of the most difficult trap shots, that a buried lie, or commonly known as a fried egg. I still employ a slightly open stance, but instead of leaving the blade open like this, I close it up. The object now is to hit about 2 to 3 inches in back of the ball, keeping the left hand moving. Like so. This shot you cannot stop, so you have to just sort of lift it out of the trap and let it hit the green and let it roll.
This ball is plugged on an uphill lie. Now what I'm going to do here is I cannot finish high because the club will not get fully underneath the ball. all I can do is drive it just behind the ball and have the club stick into the ground. So I have to keep leading with my hands. I cannot let the club pass again. But what I want to do is I want to stick it into the ground as such. So the arm and the club stay in a straight line, and I'm just driving it right behind the ball. I'm opening the face. My weight is forward because we're trying to keep the club underneath the ball. The ball will get out. We just have to drive the club underneath. What we don't want to do is blade it, have our weight back where the leading edge comes up. We have to keep the leading edge down. So my weight is forward. I'm leaning into the hill. I drive it in. And if you notice, the ball popped up. But look, my arm and club are still in a straight line. My hands continued, but it just stuck into the ground. It stayed ahead of the club. I didn't stop my hands and let the club pass.
When you have this uphill lie and you tilt this way, your weight definitely goes a little bit more on your right side. So it's okay to have it on your right, but just don't let it shift to your left as you go through. Because if you start shifting, you're going to get level again. And when you get level, you're going to dig into the sand and it's not going to bounce off of it. So you have to really stay still and go ahead and let the club slide underneath the ball.
That's an awfully good one. One other thing that you're doing that shouldn't be lost on the viewer is you are not stopping at the ball. You see so many times when you've got an uphill lie, right after impact, it's almost like the club head has stopped. You are driving hard straight through to complete your golf swing.
Yeah, you know, with this method, it's very important to keep swinging all the way through because if you stop, the ball's going to it may not even get out of the bunker. So on an uphill lie, if you stop your swing, you're going to have shots like that happen. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and hit it. You'll be amazed doing this how hard you can hit the shot and still have it go a short distance. That's a full swing right there. Might come back a little bit off the hill. That was a full swing and it only went about 20 yards.
This is the uphill lie, so my feet are below the ball. Right? So what generally happens is the amateur golfer digs in too much because, of course, his feet are below the ball. He wants to dig in too much. So what I'm doing here is it's the same technique apart from the fact that I'm going to not give it 5 inches behind the ball, but only about 3. So this takes a bit of practice, don't get me wrong. So what we're doing here is we're going slightly nearer the ball to hit through that way. And that's a much better shot than actually trying to dig down because I am below the ball. You have a shallower swing and you're hitting down too much. And of course, that's what causes that problem. This is the horrible one. We hate to see from a distance a ball that we've hit into a bunker and it's rolled up the face and it's stuck here on the downslope. We hate this. The one thing we must not do here is try and get this ball airborne. If I have, this club is 60 degrees, if I open the club up, I have about 80 degrees on this club. Well in advance of the lip. So what we mustn't do is, what amateurs try and do is get here and try and lift the ball up. We follow the slope. We hit down. And we hit down and through, allowing the loft of the club and the bounce of the club to take effect. Mm-hmm. So, open the club face, weight on the left side, and we hit down.
Just like the downhill shot, we have to align our body with the slope. We have to align our body and make sure that we get our weight on the inside of our left foot and keep it there. We have to get our shoulders aligned with the downslope like this. We can't lean back into the slope with gravity and be perpendicular to gravity. We have to lean down the slope like this. Now, for a downhill shot like this, we have to have the face open. We have to make sure that we take the club on a very vertical path. We don't want to hit the sand on the backswing because that's a 2-shot penalty. And we want to make sure that the club clears that lip, going back, goes vertical, and then down very sharply with an open face, just behind the ball. You have to catch it behind the ball, and then you swing on through like this, keeping the face open. Now let's try this shot. Lean down the slope, weight on the left foot, wide stance, shoulders with the slope. Take the club up, keep the face open going through like this. You have to hit it actually pretty hard.
Well, I don't think any amateur should ever go below 12 degrees of bounce.
Yeah.
Just because it'll dig. You're not practicing all the time. Bounce is your friend.
Yeah.
And especially in bunkers, bounce is the most important part about it. If you don't have any bounce, then it's going to be digging.
I'm constantly telling them, open the face, open the face, open the face.
To get more bounce.
Because, and that's what you got to do. You have to open the face to get the bounce, to be able to get it up out of the sand. Yep. They seem to come in and just come in with a square face. When you come into the square face, it wants to dig. So you got to open that face, get the bounce, and to propel it out of the bunker. See, my big theory behind bunker shots is that if I can consistently hit it behind the ball where I need to and take as minimal sand as possible, I can just land it somewhere near the pin, and it'll stop really quick.
Right.
And that's on all shots. So then, because the big thing about sand is when you're hitting bunker shots and you don't have consistent strike, sometimes it comes out crisp and spins, and sometimes it comes out running.
Right.
Wherever it is, doesn't matter if it's a short shot or a long shot, I'll try and hit it exactly the same behind the ball all the time.
That's something every great bunker player says.
It's just so consistent that way, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. And what's interesting about your motion is how high you finish.
Well, you know what the big thing for me is? I want to be as aggressive and as positive as I can through the hitting zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try and finish really high because I'm trying to hit that big high cut.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. It's interesting because I try to hit it higher.
Yeah.
I just let it go a little bit faster with my right hand.
Yeah. You see how short your...
Yes. I mean, and for me, I can't get a high bunker follow through.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Why is that?
Because when I think high, I think hands.
Yes. That's your feel.
Yes, my feel.
Yeah.
The reason because we must have the club face open is because you will get a better release throughout the sand. All right? Then the reason because we do this in the bunker is because we're looking for a solid stance, because in the bunker it's very important to stay still. Then the toe must aim to the left, because that will give you a better chance to go throughout the shot. Also, everything is aiming to the left or square, because in the bunker you don't need to turn like you do in the normal shots, but you have to release everything to the left, right? Then the weight on the left side is important, because also that will make you stay still over the ball, and also it will give you a better chance to take the club a little bit more straight up upright. Okay, the hands must be in front, because that will help you on the takeaway to open the club face, which is fundamental in the bunker. Let's play the shot, but now, first of all, let me explain to you a couple more things. You have to think about how much you have to hit behind the ball. It will be about an inch or an inch and a half. And then you have to control the distance by the speed of the club face. Now we have the feet, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. Everything all square but aiming to the left. That will make you swing across the line with the club face open is what we need. Then on the takeaway, we have to make sure that the club face is open on the top. That way. This is square, this is close. Make sure it's open. The toe of the grip, it has to aim between the ball and the feet. And then on the downswing, the toe of the grip, it has to come to the central of the body and square with the ball, with the open club face right there. And then through, you have to release a little bit, but the right hand, it has to be open. That way. Don't close the right hand, because what happens is that if you do that, you will rotate the club. That means you will close the club face and you will get overspin. So make sure that throughout the swing, the secret is to keep open the club face all the time. And you can do that only with the right hand under. And then you release a little bit, but under, always under, and looking at the hole. All right? Let's play the shot and see what happens. Sometimes you may find it better to use the putter from the bunker. For example, if the lip of the bunker is low. If the lip is high or grassy, the ball will never get out. Also, the putter is a good choice if the pen is on the very front part of the green, because using the sand wedge, we will not be able to stop the ball. When you're using the putter in the bunker, you have to remember the sand is a little bit slower than the grass, so make sure you hit it a little harder. But on other occasions, when the pen is farther away, you may want to chip with the wedge or even with the 9-iron to run the ball down to the flag. The technique is similar to chipping from the fairway, and the result can really be good. Very simple.